Welcome, everyone, to another episode of our podcast. Today, we have the distinct pleasure of speaking with the legendary composer, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Mozart, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's delightful to be here. Truly delightful.
Mozart, you were a child prodigy, performing for royalty and composing music at an incredibly young age. What was it like growing up in such a musical environment, and how did it shape your career?
Yes, my early years were quite unique. You see, my father, Leopold, was a talented musician and composer in his own right, and he ensured that I was immersed in music from the very beginning. I learned to play the clavier and the violin before I could even read properly, and by the age of 6, I was already composing my own music. Growing up in a musical family had its perks. My father took my sister, Nannerl, and me on tours across Europe, where we performed for kings, queens, and nobility. It was a whirlwind experience, being exposed to so many different cultures and musical styles. It certainly broadened my horizons and helped me develop my own unique approach to composition.
Your body of work spans various genres, from symphonies to operas to chamber music. Can you share your creative process and what inspired you to compose such diverse pieces?
Of course, for me, composing was as natural as breathing. Ideas for melodies and harmonies would often come to me spontaneously, whether I was at home, traveling, or even at a party. I always carried a small notebook to jot down these ideas, which would later become full compositions. As for inspiration, it came from many sources. I was deeply influenced by the great composers of my time, such as Johann Sebastian Bach and Joseph Haydn, but I also drew inspiration from the people and stories around me. My operas, for example, were often based on popular tales or comedies, and I loved exploring the drama and emotion in each character's journey. When I composed, I thought about how the music would make people feel. I wanted my music to evoke joy, sadness, excitement, or whatever emotion the story demanded. It was a delicate balance, but when it all came together, it was truly magical.
Your operas, such as The Magic Flute and Don Giovanni, are still celebrated today. Can you tell us what made your operas unique and why they continue to captivate audiences centuries later?
I always believed that opera should be both entertaining and profound. What made my operas unique was the way I combined dramatic storytelling with exquisite music. I didn't just write beautiful melodies, I crafted intricate arrangements that supported the emotional depth of the characters and the narrative. In Don Giovanni, for instance, I explored themes of morality and redemption while keeping the audience engaged with vibrant and memorable music. The Magic Flute was quite different, incorporating elements of fantasy and Freemasonry with a delightful mix of humor and seriousness. I enjoyed experimenting with various themes and styles, ensuring that each opera had its own distinct character. I think the reason my operas continue to captivate audiences is that they resonate with universal human experiences: love, loss, ambition, and redemption. These themes, combined with the rich musical tapestry, create an immersive experience that connects with people on a deep level. And of course, it's always a joy to see my music still bringing happiness to people after all these years.
Mozart, your legacy is immense, and your music continues to inspire composers and musicians around the world. What advice would you give to aspiring musicians and composers today?
My advice would be to embrace your creativity and never be afraid to experiment. Music is an art form that thrives on innovation and individuality. So find your unique voice and let it shine. Study the works of great composers, but don't be afraid to challenge conventions and push boundaries. Another important piece of advice is to enjoy the process. Music is a language that speaks to the heart, and if you find joy in creating it, that joy will come through in your work. Also, collaborate with other musicians and learn from them. The best ideas often come from sharing and exploring with others. Finally, remember that music has the power to connect people and bring joy. Keep that in mind as you compose and perform, and always strive to create something beautiful and meaningful. If you do that, you'll leave a lasting impact, just as I hoped to do with my music.
Well, thank you for joining us today and sharing your insights into your music and legacy. It's been a true honor to have you on our podcast, and we look forward to exploring more fascinating topics with you in the future.
The honor was mine. I look forward to our next conversation. Until then, keep the music alive and let it inspire you.